Every Wednesday night is DisRace right here, man. DisRace, no hate, no fear. DC Curry is absent tonight. He's in New York working. Well, we're here tonight. My man Mook, man, my man Black Ass Field, my man Brian Harper. It's DisRace every Wednesday night. We're at the beautiful Uptown Comedy Corner. Make sure y'all check us out. Check out the website. Check out Urban Atlanta. Make sure you watch us and follow us. DC Curry TV, where you can watch and follow us also. We're just finishing up on the debate about wrong or right with the baby daddy. But let's go to sad situation. Brother got arrested. They put him in the back of the police vehicle, and he drove wildly, and he fell over and hit his head, and he's paralyzed from the chest down. What's y'all thoughts on this, man? We're going from bad to worse now. You in the back of the police car, and they slammed you so hard, now you paralyzed. Wow.
Well,
Stop choking us. And just put you in the back and just fling you all over the place.
Now let's be very clear. Once you are put in the custody of law enforcement and you are read your rights, you are now their property. In the loosest terms, I can say that, and by their property I mean they're responsible for your well-being. You are now incarcerated, so now all health parameters, all the things that come with being alive are pretty much put in the hands of that. So put in the hands of law enforcement. So when they don't lock you up or secure you in a vehicle, that is, it's neglect without any question. So I would normally say that a case like this is open and shut. Clearly, they locked this boy up. They did not put him in the restraints that he was supposed to be restrained in. Now he's paralyzed for the rest of his life. So in that breath, I have to say, boom, we're done. The police are gonna get what they deserve, and this kid's family is going to be able to take care of him for the rest of his life.
Well, it just goes to show that the more things change, the more things stay the same. Now, we had a similar situation in Baltimore with Freddie Gray. There was protesters, buildings got burned down a lot. The same thing happened with Freddie Gray when he was in the back of the police wagon. Same thing. With this guy, Randy Cox, they actually was able to show, they put a camera in the back of the paddy wagon, so it was actually shown that the officer was driving fast, and to avoid what they call an accident, he slammed on brakes. And the boy flew to the front of the van in handcuffs with his neck hitting the back of the van.
It's gruesome.
Now, he was moaning to the officer, "I'm help. You could hear from inside where the officer was through his camera, you could hear that the guy was saying something. And the driver said, I couldn't hear. It took the officer 4 minutes to pull over. And then when he went back and checked, see, this is where things get different. When he goes back and checks to see, he's like, he doesn't believe that something's wrong with you. Get up. There's nothing wrong with you. So the guy kept complaining, I can't move. Yeah, I can't move. So they call an ambulance to meet him at the precinct. When they get there, there's 7 officers outside waiting for him to pull up. And all those officers are standing there saying, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with him. Get up. They drag his limp body. They drag him.
Possibly injuring him.
Right.
More.
Drag him
like a rag doll
wagon and just toss him around. They take him to the jail cell and they throw him in the jail cell, in the holding cell on the ground. He's still on the ground saying, I cannot move.
Wow. And you know, and it's kind of funny that we talk about this because police officers are given so many different freedoms and rights, and it's kind of weird that just to be a fireman, you need to be a certified medic.
Right.
To be a medic, you need to be a certified. Why do police officers only have the capability to take life and not save it? Why are they walking around? There are firemen, there are EMTs, there are all of these paramedics, there are all these people that need double training.
Oh, don't say police officers. Why only white police officers are the one that do it? Like, we have not seen not one Asian, not one Latino police officer do it to a young white male. You don't see black officers coincidentally throwing a white male or an Asian male in the back of a thing and doing this. Anything that's out of police procedure, 90% of the time it's a white officer doing it to a minority or a person of color. And I mean, and while we got all these acts that we can sign time and time again, I will hold this administration accountable. And when my vote comes around the second time, I'm not saying which way I'm going, but it's something that's got to change.
Why?
And it makes no sense. We always talking about it. If it's not shooting, then it's the way we're being handled. And we just never see it.
So now when you say something like that, and that's a big deal because now we're getting to the point where your vote is about to, especially if you vote locally and you're voting for your governors and people that actually can make a difference in your immediate time and space. How can you, do you support guns?
Yes, I do.
Right, I support guns, but I also support black people not being tortured by the police.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I live in a neighborhood where the police show up.
And if it went for
So I
social
like
media,
the police. I like when people call the police and the police show up in my neighborhood.
And what angers me is that if it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't know about it. And again, that's why when you said police, I wonder if there's a police officer watching. I'm just saying, answer the question: why is it the majority of your white counterparts are always in some kind of controversy?
America is the
That's all I'm
answer to
saying.
that, sir.
Well, in this case, it's just not about white officers because there were black officers there as well that handled this man like he was nothing.
And they were just as much as compliant. So all skin folk ain't kinfolk if they didn't say nothing.
No, again, they didn't believe the guy. They thought because he was a criminal, he got arrested because he got stopped and he had a fire. He was coming from a party. He had a firearm on him and he was carrying.
So now, and I hate when that happens, Mook. It gets into the situation like we see this clear video. There are seat belts. He should have been strapped in. All of these facts are clear, but now we're talking about
they didn't have seat belts. Now I'm
going to tell you like this. Now I'm going to tell you like this, and this is from recent explicit experience. They do not have seatbelts in those things.
All of them. Now, some of them do.
Some of them do.
Some of them don't.
But most of them don't.
Right.
I'm talking about a Sprinter van. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what a Sprinter van is, but they can be remodeled, and many things can be put in them. You can put a cabin, anything, a workshop.
Nice.
You can put anything in a Sprinter van.
Yes, things are nice.
Counties are buying Sprinter vans and putting these dog cages in them, and they've got these metal sharp 90-degree angles with this shit you can slide on your ass on, and the kid was probably in fucking sweatpants.
I think he was in regular pants.
Or whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but the way they stopped, I'm telling you, your hands are behind your back.
Right, you have no way to protect
brace yourself.
Right, exactly.
If you don't,
can I come right, bitch? I'm piggybacking what you're saying. So why is it there in a rough stop to do that? Then you know you got a passenger. Why are you even driving like that?
Well, in that situation, there's no way, and even more of a reason why there should be secure restraints in every vehicle. There's no way to decipher what's going to happen on the road, whether it's weather, whether it's an abrupt stop, whether it's a drunk driver.
Pothole.
There's pothole. There's no way to gauge, for a police officer to gauge what's going to happen in his route. Right. So,
but you said he went flying.
You already got him.
I'm sorry.
You already got an inebriated passenger. He was drunk. So you should sustain him somehow, sustain him somehow. Because he's already drunk. So he's not, you know what I'm saying? You should strap him in somehow. And then when you're driving like that, hey man, I saw this on the internet today. What y'all think? They said less black crime would happen if more black people had insurance and life insurance and things like this happen, and they start suing, the insurance company would go at the police department.
Wow,
instead of the insurance company paying it. If you had insurance, the insurance company would go at the police department.
Yep.
Instead of them paying y'all, they would go at the police department, and once they start suing the police department more, they'd be less.
Hold them for malpractice.
Less situations like this happening.
But
that too.
Well, you know, Bo, it's so funny that you say that because I just recently on Netflix, there's a new Benjamin Crump documentary, kind of like a tell-all about where he came from, what he does for the black community. In the trailer, Benjamin Crump says that we have to hold corporations and legal systems accountable financially, because if we don't put a price on our life, they won't. Now, I feel like that is a terrible statement, because you got your Breonna Taylors and you've got all these people that Benjamin Crump have worked for, and yes, their families have gotten settlements after police have been let go or just retired or fired or any of those things. Their families have gotten large settlements, but black people still keep getting killed under the hands of law enforcement. So does Benjamin Crump help the cause? Is he putting a price on life? So,
I think he has a point, because most of the time we as black people will march for about a week and a half and we'll go back to doing what we're doing, but we don't take a serious stand when it comes to truly boycotting like they did back in the day. Like, people walk and refuse to drive those buses. Truly. That's just a true boycott. Like, and they went through a whole lot. So let's just say we decided to really do a boycott. Like, we said, we're going to truly boycott a certain sports team. We're going to truly boycott a certain
boycott the police.
Boycott. Say what now?
Can't boycott the police.
And if you're not paying and hurt revenues in certain areas, I guarantee you, it's going to trickle down effect.
What are you talking about?
Well, you can't boycott the police. That's what all these boycotts have been about. What are you talking about? But what I'm saying on Benjamin Crump, to me, he is holding, what he's doing is putting out there and holding the police. He's holding the police department accountable. You hit them in their pockets. We all know that when it comes to the other side, the only way to hurt them is to hurt them in their pockets. They don't care about the protest. They don't care about you throwing rocks and burning down buildings. They don't care about that.
That's why
when
Asians,
you hit them in their pocket, it makes a difference. Now,
that's
like
why
you said
Asians
before,
and gays, because gays spend a lot of money, got a lot of spending power to them. That's why they recognize a whole lot.
Fellas, and I know that you support this black man trying to help people out, but Benjamin Crump is taking money away from the governments that pay these police officers, which means he's taking money from the taxpayers that have been shot by these police officers. This isn't coming out of pensions. This isn't coming out of their payment. This isn't coming from the police. These are payments that are being paid by the government. Which means that the people that are being shot by the government are paying their. So
you suggesting they don't get compensated for loss of a loved one?
But again, it's still hitting them. It still go back
to the policeman, yeah.
But it's still hitting them in their
whose pockets?
It's still hitting the government. Do you think they want to give up? Do you think they want to give up that money?
The government doesn't want to give up the money, but it's the government that's paying the price, and the government is the people. The police officers are not paying the price, and that's the issue I have.
But that's not true, because you said yourself that there are police officers who either retired because of it, have lost their jobs because of it.
Retirement and going to a higher paid consulting.
But you got to take what you can.
I'm with Mook on this.
You got to take what you can get, man.
I'm with Mook on this now. We don't know what type of budget happens to those departments after. They ain't gonna report that part. You don't know that. You don't know that. Some of them might not get newer police cars at a certain time since you got two. We don't know that.
I also have friends that are police officers, fellas.
Go ahead, Bo.
But Tim, he's hitting the biggest pocket. If you hit the individual, they don't have nothing. But if you hit the institution,
the individual can go to another place and commit the same crime again and again, which happens with these officers.
That's not always the case, but it is sometimes.
No, that's not always the case. Nothing is always the case.
You hit him again. You keep hitting them.
Oh my God! Really?
But what other? Will you give me another solution? What other solution is there?
So you
tell me who else other than Benjamin Crump, what he has done. I don't care what you say. The man has brought awareness to the fact, and in one way or another, they are being held accountable. Whether officers are retired, still getting paid. The officers that did this situation right here, the 7 officers that handled him and threw him in there, they are on paid leave.